Ever been in a conversation where someone starts throwing around car terms like 300 horsepower, turbocharged engine, or front-wheel drive train, and you just nod along, pretending you totally get it? Yeah, we've all been there. The world of cars has its own language, and if you don't speak it, things can get real confusing real fast. But don't worry, you're in the right place. Welcome to Autosphere, where we make cars simple, fun, and easy to understand. Today we're going to break down those tricky car terms. What exactly is CC? What does RPM mean? And why do people care so much about horsepower? By the end of this video, you'll know all these terms and more, so you'll never feel lost in a car conversation again. And trust me, this isn't going to be one of those boring, complicated explanations. We're keeping it simple, fun, and straight to the point. Even if you've never popped open a car hood in your life, you'll still get it. So buckle up, get comfortable, and let's hit the road. Alright, before we dive into the technical stuff, let's talk about something a bit more visible, car body types. Because let's be honest, we all have that one friend who calls every car a sedan. Here's the deal, cars come in different shapes, and those shapes actually matter. We've got sedans, the classic four-door car with a trunk, coupes, like sedans, but sportier and usually with just two doors. Then there are SUVs, taller, bigger, and great for families or off-roading. Hatchbacks, think of a small car with a trunk that opens up with the rear window. Pickup trucks, they're built to haul stuff, plain and simple. And wagons? Kind of like a mix between a sedan and an SUV, more space but not as big as a full SUV. And of course, we can't forget supercars and hypercars. These are not just fast cars. They're the insane, high-performance machines that make your heart race just by looking at them. So next time someone calls an SUV a Jeep or a coupe a sports car, you'll know better. Let's talk about the heart of every car, the engine. Ever looked at a car spec sheet and felt like you were reading an alien language? 2.0-liter four-cylinder, 180 horsepower, 250 newton-meters torque. What even is that? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to make it simple. Let's start with CC, which stands for cubic centimeters. It's just a fancy way of saying how big your engine is. Think of it like soda bottles. A 1.0-liter engine is like a small bottle. A 3.0-liter engine? That's a big one. The bigger the engine, the more power it usually has. But size isn't everything, because here comes horsepower. Horsepower is all about speed. Imagine having horses pulling your car. 1 horsepower equals 1 horse doing the work. So if you've got 200 horsepower, that's 200 horses under your hood. Sounds cool, right? But power alone won't get you moving. You need the right force behind it. That's where torque comes in. Torque is the muscle of your engine. If horsepower is how fast your car can go, torque is what gives it the push to get moving. Ever seen a sports car take off super fast? That's high torque in action. That's also why trucks have so much torque. It helps them tow heavy loads without breaking a sweat. Now, let's talk about RPM, revolutions per minute. Simply put, this tells you how fast your engine is spinning. Ever hit the gas and hear your engine roar? That's because the RPM is increasing. More RPM usually means more power, but also more fuel being burned. So unless you love frequent trips to the gas station, keeping your RPM in check is a good idea. And here's where things get even more interesting. Turbocharged engines. Normally, an engine breathes in air on its own, just like you do when jogging. But a turbocharged engine? It's like jogging while someone shoves a giant leaf blower into your face, forcing in extra air. More air means more fuel can burn, which gives you more power without making the engine bigger. That's why a small turbocharged engine can sometimes be just as powerful as a bigger one. So, quick recap, CC is your engine size. Horsepower is how fast it can go. Torque is how hard it can pull. RPM is how much effort it's putting in. And turbocharging is like giving your engine a secret energy boost. So next time you look at a car spec sheet, you'll know exactly what it means. Alright, so now you know what makes a car powerful. CC, horsepower. Torque, RPM, turbocharging. But here's the thing, all that power is useless if it doesn't reach the wheels properly. And that's where transmission and drivetrain come in. Think of your engine like a muscle. It generates power. But just like in a gym, if you don't use the right form, all that strength is wasted. The transmission is what makes sure your engine's power is delivered to the wheels in the best possible way. So let's break it down, starting with the two main types of transmissions, manual and automatic. And no, this isn't just about which one makes you cooler. A manual transmission is the old school way of driving. You shift gears yourself, using a clutch pedal and a gear stick. It gives you more control over the car, can be more fun to drive. And bonus, it usually makes you look like you know what you're doing. It also means more work because you're constantly shifting gears, especially in traffic. So if you like your left foot and right hand getting a workout, this one's for you. An automatic transmission, on the other hand, does all the gear shifting for you. No clutch, no shifting. Just press the gas and go. It's easier, smoother, and perfect for stop-and-go traffic. That's why most modern cars are automatic. But here's the twist. Not all automatics are the same. There's the traditional automatic, which uses a torque converter to switch gears smoothly. Then you've got CVTs, or continuously variable transmissions, which don't have fixed gears at all. They just adjust power smoothly, like a sliding scale. And then there are dual clutch transmissions, DCTs. These shift super fast, making them perfect for sports cars. So if you ever see a car ad bragging about its quick shifting DCT, now you know why. Alright, so the transmission decides how power is sent, but where that power goes. That's all about the drivetrain. And if you've ever heard terms like RWD, FWD, AWD, or four-wheel drive and just nodded like you understood, don't worry, I've got you. Most everyday cars are FWD, front-wheel drive. This means the engine sends power only to the front wheels. It's cheaper to make, more fuel efficient, and works well in normal driving conditions. But if you've ever floored it in a front-wheel drive car and felt the steering wheel go wild, yeah, that's torque steer. Then we have RWD, rear-wheel drive. Instead of pulling the car from the front, it pushes it from the back. This gives better balance and handling, which is why sports cars and performance vehicles love RWD. But in rain or snow, good luck, because without weight over the back wheels, traction can be a nightmare. And then there's a WD, all-wheel drive. This one's like the best of both worlds. It automatically sends power to all four wheels when needed, giving you better grip in slippery conditions. That's why AWD is popular in SUVs and performance cars. But it's also heavier and less fuel efficient, so there's a trade-off. Finally, we have 4WD, four-wheel drive. This is like AWD's tougher, rougher cousin. It's designed for serious off-roading, sending power equally to all four wheels when activated. If you like climbing mountains in your truck, this one's for you. So, quick recap, manual versus automatic decides how you change gears, while FWD, RWD, AWD, and 4WD decide where the power goes. And now, you actually know what these terms mean, instead of just pretending. Alright, so we've covered power. We've covered how that power reaches the wheels. But here's the thing, none of that matters if you can't stop in time, or if your car handles like a shopping cart on a downhill slope. So let's talk about braking and handling, because knowing how your car stops and stays in control is just as important as knowing how fast it goes. First up, brakes. You press the pedal, the car slows down. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And if you've ever heard terms like ABS, brake fade, or disc versus drum brakes, and just nodded along, don't worry, you're about to actually get it. Let's start with ABS, anti-lock braking system. Ever slammed the brakes hard and felt that weird vibration in the pedal? That's ABS doing its job. Instead of the wheels locking up and turning your car into a sled, ABS pulses the brakes super fast. This helps you maintain control instead of just skidding straight into trouble. So yeah, ABS, lifesaver. But even with ABS, your brakes can still get tired. That's called brake fade, when your brakes overheat and don't work as well. Imagine running a sprint and then immediately trying to do it again. Your legs feel weaker, right? Same with brakes. The hotter they get, the less effective they become. That's why performance cars have ventilated disc brakes. They cool down faster, so they can keep working hard even under stress. And speaking of brake types, most modern cars use disc brakes. These are metal rotors that get clamped by brake pads to slow you down. But some older cars and budget models still have drum brakes in the rear. These work kind of like a hand drum, with brake shoes pressing outward to slow the wheel. They're cheaper, but not as good at cooling down. So if your car still has drum brakes in the back, maybe don't try to stop from 100 miles per hour too often. Alright, so that's braking. But what about handling? Because stopping is great, but not losing control in the first place? Even better. Ever heard of traction control and stability control? These are the unsung heroes that stop you from spinning out when roads get slippery or when you take a turn too fast. Traction control prevents your wheels from spinning too much when you accelerate. So if you've ever floored it on wet pavement and felt the car hesitate, that's traction control stopping your wheels from just spinning in place. And then there's stability control. Think of it as your car's guardian angel. If the car starts to slide, it automatically applies brakes to individual wheels to help keep you on track. This is especially useful in emergencies, when you don't have time to react. In fact, in the US, stability control has been required in all new cars since 2012. So if you drive a newer car, you've already got this hidden safety net watching over you. So let's recap. ABS stops your wheels from locking up. Brake fade happens when your brakes overheat. Disc brakes are better than drum brakes. Traction control prevents wheel spin. And stability control keeps you from spinning out. Sounds like a lot, but now you actually know what all those warning lights on your dashboard mean. All right, so we've talked about power, control, and stopping in time. But here's the big question. How do you make sure your car doesn't turn into a gas-guzzling, money-eating machine? Because let's be real, fuel prices aren't exactly our best friends. So let's talk about fuel efficiency and maintenance basics. How to keep your car running smoothly and save some serious cash while you're at it. First up, MPG, or miles per gallon. This number tells you how far your car can go on a gallon of gas. The higher the number, the less you're spending at the pump. Simple, right? But here's the thing. That official MPG on your car's sticker? Yeah, that's under perfect conditions. Flat roads, no traffic, no AC blasting on full power. In the real world, your actual MPG depends on how you drive. Which brings us to some simple fuel-saving habits that actually work. First, easy on the gas pedal. Flooring it at every green light might feel cool, but it burns through gas like crazy. Instead, accelerate smoothly. Second, don't speed like you're in Fast and Furious. Most cars hit their best fuel efficiency around 50 to 60 miles per hour. Go faster, and you're just burning extra fuel for no reason. And third, check your tire pressure. Low tire pressure equals more resistance equals worse MPG. Oh, and ditch the unnecessary weight. If your trunk is carrying enough junk to start a garage sale, it's time to clean it out. But saving fuel is just one part of keeping your car in good shape. If you want it to last, you need to keep up with basic maintenance. And don't worry, I'm not talking about rebuilding an engine, just the simple stuff that makes a huge difference. Number 1, oil changes. Your engine oil is basically its lifeblood. Over time, it gets dirty, thick, and just bad for your car. Stick to the schedule in your owner's manual, usually every 5,000 to 7,500 miles, and your engine will thank you. Number 2, air filters. A clogged air filter is like trying to breathe through a straw. Your engine needs air to burn fuel efficiently, so a clean air filter will better performance and better MPG. Number 3, brake pads. Worn-out brake pads don't just make that horrible squeaking noise, they also make stopping your car harder. If your brakes are making weird sounds or feel soft, get them checked before it's too late. And finally, check your battery. A dead battery is the worst surprise, especially when you're running late. Most car batteries last about 3 to 5 years, so if yours is getting old, might be time for a new one before it leaves you stranded. So there you have it. You've just gone from barely understanding car talk to actually speaking the language of cars. Now, when someone throws out terms like RPM, torque, AWD, or brake fade, you won't just nod along. You'll actually get it. And hey, if this video helped, drop a like and maybe even share it with someone who still thinks MPG stands for more pizza guys. And if you want more car tips, tricks, and easy to understand explanations, make sure to subscribe because we've got a lot more coming. Until next time, drive safe, keep your car happy, and remember, if something starts making a weird noise, don't just turn the music up louder, get it checked.